Yeah, I don't even know what's going on. So now I'm on my phone. Let's see how long this lasts. If it cuts out again, I'm going to just record it and upload it to be broadcast later because I've been cut off 3 times already. So good morning, everybody. So let's try this again. I'm on my phone now. It's not working on my laptop. It's not working on my iPad. It's not working on Instagram. So hey, we're here. And maybe because of what I'm planning on sharing, you know, there's I always say the devil's a liar, and so maybe it's things trying to cut me off. Anyway, uh, welcome to Swahili Sunday, and if you're listening after the fact, thank you so much for listening and getting this far with the cutting in and out. I'm not sure if it's the weather causing. I woke up this morning and it like I didn't have a connection at all on internet, so it's been cutting in and out all morning. And we have like cloud cover and stuff from the I guess the hurricane that's off the Baja Peninsula, and it's giving us a little bit of weather. So um, I don't know. Anyway, what I want to share today. So I entitled it "Advice to My Younger Self." Um, there's been a lot of, let's see, where do I start with this? There's been a lot of stuff going around the internet. There's I guess a young 29-year-old woman was posting about her life, and I guess this is not a one-off post. She's keeps posting about this kind of stuff, that she's 29, she didn't have any kids, she can, go out partying, get drunk, wake up late, hungover, go do whatever she wants, sit around, watch TV, all this kind of stuff. And there's a there's two sides of the opinion on that. One side is like, oh my gosh, what a miserable life, and the other side is like, oh, you're so empowered. And I it just made me think about things in my life, the lies that I bought into as a young woman, that I needed to be, this feminist, and then I didn't need a man, and I needed to be like, the row my own boat, which part of it I really needed to take care of myself because my mother died when I was 12, and my father basically checked out, never parented me, never gave me advice on how to navigate relationships or life. I had to learn the hard way, and boy, did I learn the hard way. And for those of you who are younger and think that, wow, just running around partying, having a good time, that's the thing to do, aside from the fact that it's not good for your health to begin with, it's also not good for your emotional health. I mean, you think about, oh, okay, I don't have any kids, so that's great. I don't have any kids, I don't have any responsibilities, I don't have to do anything, I can just lie around all day. And well, that's good for now and then, maybe. I don't do sit very well, so I have to really feel bad to stop. That's just my nature. But like, even if I'm sitting here, I posted a picture of some crochet washcloths that I make, and after the pop up season was over last year, I was so exhausted. I just wanted to sit and do nothing. But I can only do that for like a day before I go crazy. So I sat and rested, but I made all these crochet washcloths, and I thought, oh well, I'll make some for friends, and family for Christmas. And then before I knew it, I had like a couple dozen of them because it's a really easy pattern, and I just kept knocking them out. So I put them in Fair Trade Long Beach, and they sold. So that's kind of why I'm passionate about handcrafted goods, because I've done a lot of handcrafted things myself. I used to make, way back in the day, fabric covered photo albums, when my then husband, my kid's father, was in um, Korea, and I was trying to raise some money to go see him, because living on a military salary isn't, you're not going to be wealthy on that unless you do some investing and do it very well, which I didn't learn about that in the military, or when I was in the military. Had the opportunity to, but I it ended up not doing it. But um, so I made these fabric covered photo albums and sold them, and sold a bunch of them, and raised money to go be able to cover my airfare and trip. I mean, I took a military hop out of uh, San Francisco, I think. I flew So in the military, you when and I can still do it, but I'm a retiree, so I'm further down on the priority list. But I had to fly commercial to the. I was in Texas. I had to fly commercial to the West Coast and either try to get out of Travis Air Force Base on a military hop, or I found out that there was a flight going to go on a I uh, uh, kind of wow, this thing just keeps cutting out. The funny thing about that time, anyways, I was saying, um, is that most of the maternity clothes always had this big bow that would sit right on top of your stomach. I don't know what the design of that was supposed to mean, but it was ridiculous. So, you know what I think I'm going to do, because this keeps cutting out? I'm going to go ahead and record what I was going to say and then just post it on here, because this is driving me nuts the amount of times it's cut out. I'll keep going, but if it cuts out one more time, that's what I'm going to do. So, anyway, what I wanted to share about was, talking about that woman who thinks her life is so great because she gets to go out and party and drink, and if she wants to sleep with somebody, she can. And that's the new empowerment, and that's the same nonsense that I was told as a young woman, that oh gosh, that's what you need to do. You don't need a man, and you need to empower yourself, and you can do it all, and this, that, and the other. Of course, my I didn't really pick the best people. My kid's father, although he had a great work ethic, he was just as broken as I was, and we probably should not have gotten together because of how broken we both were. And so I didn't really, and then my kids ended up growing up in a divorced situation, which was horrible for them. And I can't go back and fix any of that. But I think had I been healed, and when I say healed, not that, let me talk a little bit about healing. So I've done a lot of healing work um, around the trauma that I experienced as a child, as things that happened to me in the military, domestic violence, and things like that. And when I say I'm healed, that for me, that means that I'm not carrying it with me anymore. It's not something that I look in the mirror and I just all those things come flooding back to me, and I feel like a horrible person for all the things that I allowed to happen to myself, or whatever, or the things that I went through, the choices I made, and all that. That doesn't mean that things don't still affect me, because there are times when out of nowhere it would happen to me on Friday. I guess you call it a panic attack. I call it an anxiety attack. Some things happened at work, and it started with I felt it in my throat, and by the time the workday was over, it was all across here, and I was having trouble breathing, and I put on some praise and worship music on the way to our B&B live on Thursday, and I had to breathe all the way there, and it subsided a little, and when I came home I had to do something to relax, and I'm still not sure where that came from, because those kind of things happen. There something triggered something from my past. So to say that I'm healed doesn't mean that things don't still happen to me, that I don't still get affected by things. One thing that really affects me bad is when I feel like somebody's discarded me. And when I say discarded, I mean, leaves me out of something, leaves me out of stuff, or they've agreed to I had been selected for a great project, and then at the last minute they canceled me out of it. Oh, we're not going to use you. I hope you have a great day. And it to me, that brings up stuff for me. And I've worked through that stuff, and I can recognize that it's coming from my stuff, but that doesn't mean that I don't need to work through that stuff. So um and that stuff about being discarded has to do with my mother leaving me in a store when I was 5 years old on purpose. And I've told this story before. She purposely left me in a store, and she just didn't seem, I mean, she was so wrapped up in her own alcoholism that she couldn't really want me. She couldn't be a good mother. So in my adult life, even now, when somebody does something where I feel quote unquote discarded, it it brings stuff up. But because I've done the work to do the healing for myself, I recognize what that is, and I recognize that that's what it is, and that's where it's coming from. Most of the time I can catch it and not react nowadays. There's been times where I've reacted, and then I have to ask for forgiveness for my reaction, but I understand where that's coming from. I understand what's causing that, and where that trigger point goes back to. The thing that happened with me at work on Friday, I still haven't really connected to where that came from. It came from something, and I like to go back. It's always important that you go back and you figure out where that stuff comes from, so you can then address it and use your tools to go through it. Like me, I have breathing techniques I do, and like I said, I listen to praise and worship music, and I pray, and I ask God to release it from me. It's a horrible feeling. It's not something that you can recognize. I mean, I felt it when it was coming, like it was, and I thought, oh, let me take a break. I took my dog for a walk. I kind of thought I was okay. I went back to work and started working on that project, and then some other couple other things happened. It was like bam, there I was gone, I was in it, and I'm like, man, okay, this isn't fun. um this is this isn't oh, hey Karen. This isn't, this isn't something that you can always control. I mean, it comes and you can take some steps, but then you have to kind of go through it. But like I said, thankfully I've done the healing work on myself to understand and recognize where that comes from. I mean, there may be other things that get triggered, and I just don't, I have to work through it. But most of the time I recognize where it comes from. But when I say I've done the healing work and I'm healed, that means that it's not a day-to-day struggle in my life like it used to be. But so that's that side of things. But like I'm talking about with the whole feminism and empowerment from this one video, then there was another video of a lady saying, well, I'm 30 and I'm divorced, and then I divorced this guy, and then I divorced this guy, and then I got engaged and I got rid of him. You don't have to keep these guys, you can just get rid of them. Like, wow, that ugh. I mean, I bought into that same kind of nonsense, and here I am, 62 years old, and I'm alone. And I would really love more than anything to have a life partner, but um, the choices I made early on in life and the things that I did have brought me to this place where I'm alone. Not to say that it won't ever happen, but it's like I would rather have gone through life with somebody than gone through life alone on my own, rowing my own boat. There were a couple of times that I really connected with some really wonderful guys, and I think I was just not in a good place. I was too scared. I was too whatever, and I pushed them away. And I'm sorry that happened in my life. But if I could talk to my younger self, and any of you younger women who are thinking that, you just, oh, it's no big deal, I can go be by myself. Yeah, okay, I'm content, but it's lonely. And I'm grateful that I have my dog Indigo, because if I didn't have her, and I've got an old girl cat too, who's laying here beside me and upset because she can't lay in my lap. I mean, it's great, but I don't get to see my kids very often. I saw my daughter last night. My son's probably going to move away at some point, and I don't get to see him much now anyway, because he has his own, they both have their own lives. They're adults. So, uh, the choices I made, and I say I bought into that nonsense. And nowadays, the selfishness that a lot of people have, like that one girl was sharing, oh, I don't have to do anything, I can just watch, I'm going to watch this on TV or that, and I'm just going to lay around and do nothing. That's okay for, I don't know, a day, if that's what you want to do, but don't let that be your life. um, my good friend Larry Broughton was on our B&B Live. I suggest you go listen to that. It was an amazing interview. He's an amazing individual. I'm so grateful to count him as a friend. Um, he ended with, do something of significance. And significance doesn't mean self-significance. It means doing something significant, means doing something worthy of being considered important. But that doesn't mean by your own, oh, look at me, I'm sitting here and let me take a picture. And a lot of girls today are wearing just as little as possible, showing as much as their body as possible. And I don't think that that's a good thing to do personally. I just, if I was young and in the mindset I was back in my 20s and 30s, I might have done that too. I mean, I used to ride Harleys, and I wore things that were not as revealing, I think, as things are today. But I was in that kind of mindset and thought that, oh, well, this is what I need to do, and I need to show myself off, and whatever, whatever, whatever. And instead of like, oh, look at me, let me take a selfie, and all that kind of stuff, go out and do something significant, do something for somebody else. You don't have to go all the way to Kenya like I do. I'm in Kenya. Okay. I'm working with women in Kenya because I feel God called me there when I was there. So that's my calling. That's what I'm doing. That's a significant thing that I'm doing. But you can do something significant here. You can volunteer with somebody. You can go work with Habitat for Humanity. Jimmy Carter, who was not the greatest president that ever lived, has done more for humanity since he left the presidency, being an active part in Habitat for Humanity, than he did anytime when he was off in office. But it's about doing something significant for somebody else or some other group. If you're a veteran, there's plenty of veterans organizations you can be involved in. Obviously, if you're somebody who's struggling with something, you need to go get the healing and help, so then you can reach back and help somebody else who's going through what you're going through. Pastor Rick Warren of Saddleback Church always said, don't waste your pain, because there's somebody out there who's hurting, who's gone through what you've gone through, and who better to help them than you if you've gone through it yourself. So somebody else who's gone through, like growing up with alcoholic parents like I have, whose parent died of alcoholism, who's been assaulted, any of those kind of things. I'm a victor over domestic violence. Healing means to me, you're no longer a victim of it. You're a victor over it. You can still have it affect you in your day-to-day life, but you're not a victim of it, constantly having it weigh you down and bring you down. I always felt like the whole world was going to crash in on top of me, but the fact that I've done the work to get to the other side and I'm not a victim of it anymore. I'm a victor over it. It means that somebody else who's going through something like I've gone through, I can be a voice of wisdom and reason to them. I can uh, reach out and help somebody else. I think each one of us, if we all got involved in some kind of community service, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, if you're local and you want to get involved helping with baskets and beads as a volunteer type thing, definitely get in touch with me. And I would love for you to help. There's so many little things you can help with. You can help in the warehouse, you can help do social media, uh, you can help with some administrative stuff, you can help set up at pop-ups. That is a way that you'll be giving back. Oh, thanks, Melody. um, yeah, it's yeah, definitely. It was so long ago. Oh my gosh, can't believe that. That's so good that you volunteer. Everybody, those of us who were in the military have uh, a Air Force Corps. So military, their, and I got busy, I got better. You get out of your into there was a point where I was so volunteer, uh, volunteered, uh, uh, so I, and really, um, so the empowering women part is because I want those women to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and be able to create a business for themselves. The educating children part is because I dropped out of high school. Nobody really cared about me, whether I made it or not. And so I'm really passionate about helping those children. So what, doing something of significance doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, like I said, go to Kenya, but pick something. Living a life where you're just, oh, I don't have anything to do and I can go out and drink and party and, just watch TV all the time or play video games all the time. That's not living a life of significance. That's living a life of self centeredness where you're just focused on you and what you want to do and what's good for you. If everybody just take one day a month, even if you don't want to do something every weekend or every a lot, just take one day a month and go give back somewhere. Go work at a food bank, or go work at a food kitchen, or go pick up trash on the here, and we could pick up trash on the beach, or go pick up trash with a group, or um, collect things like backpacks for school kids, or collect some toys or something for kids at Christmas, or do something. But like I said, you can definitely can use some help at Baskets and Beads if you want to help here. Or go find another organization where you can help, where you can volunteer, where you can do something that'll make a difference in somebody else's life, other than just your own, because that's the important thing at the end of the day. I mean, uh, I like I said, I don't do sit well. I can't imagine. Um, and I don't do a lot of other stuff. Like I don't volunteer uh, much at church because I can't do things like be a greeter or work at a service or do any. I do so much in Kenya, and so much of my life is committed to the ministry in Kenya that I don't have the bandwidth to do a lot of other stuff. Now, in the past, I would have done that and I would have worn myself the heck out. And I'm really good at that, doing way too much and overcommitting, but I learned that I need to make sure that I get some downtime and some rest too. Because if I don't take care of me, I'm not able to do the things that I've been called to do. So I take time out for myself. Um, I have my little pup. We do things that she makes me happy, but that's, I guess that's what I wanted to share today about just doing something of significance that helps somebody else. And if you're not in a place where you can do that because you have not healed from any traumas and you're still in the victim side of things, um, you have to do the work to be healed because you can. I did it for a lot of years. I stuffed it and stuffed it and stuffed it and stuffed it until it finally, when I started really doing some work on it, and when I got out of the military, um, it nearly did me in because I basically felt it all at once. It was like somebody opened up a floodgate. I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that at all. I recommend doing it in little bits and pieces where you can get there um, kind of on a path. I don't recommend dealing with all your pain and trauma all at once. I don't know why it happened that way for me, but I'm grateful that I survived and I'm on the other side of it and I'm a victor over it. I'm no longer a victim of it. Like I said, there are still things that are triggered and I still have things to work through, but I recognize, oh, okay, this is coming from this. And then I have to think, well, where did this come from? And then like, oh, okay, I'll journal about it and then move on because the next thing will come up. Something else will come up. And I think we continue to learn, shift, adjust, and get stronger as time goes by. And there's many things that I can't say everything happened the way it was supposed to. I would rather have not been in that mindset early on in my life about, I don't know that I've considered myself a feminist, but, being empowered to where I don't need anybody and I don't need a man and I can do everything myself and I'm just, row my own boat and I don't need any help. And so now one of the phrases that I'm using often when somebody offers to help, I'll gladly accept that help. Where before I'd be like, no, I can do it. Yeah, I'm tough. I can do it. No, I'll gladly accept that help. And I'm not afraid to ask for help, even though it's still a struggle. I make and to it's because but it, it, I'm, so I'm you I'm ending this. Come on.